Here we go with some Unit 5 Lesson 5 homework help. Here's your first problem. The car is traveling on a small highway. It's going either 55 miles per hour or 35 miles per hour, depending on the speed limit, until it reaches its destination 200 miles away. Letting X represent the amount of time in hours the car is going 55 miles per hour, and Y being the time in hours the car is going 35 miles per hour. An equation describing this relationship is given right here. So if that car spends 2.5 hours going 35 miles per hour on the trip, how long does it take going 55 miles per hour? This is going to be a substitution problem where I take the time that's given and apply it to the correct value that I should. So we should see 55 times X plus 35 miles per hour for 2.5 hours. That's a 5, I promise, is equal to 200. In this case, I simply solve for X. I round my answer to the hundredths place. I don't include hours in my answer. I just simply put in whatever my number is right here, okay, to the hundredths place. Make sure and check your answer so that you know it's right. Remember, we check our answer by substituting back into the equation to verify that I have the true solution. Part B, looking at this going 3 hours for 55, or 3 hours at 55 miles per hour. So in this case, 55 miles per hour for 3 hours plus the 35 miles per hour is equal to 200 miles total. Same thing, solve it, round to the nearest hundredths place, put it into the box. Part C, it says if the car is going the car spends no time going 35 miles per hour, how long would this trip take? Well, if it's not going 35 miles per hour ever, then we know that car is constantly going at 55 miles an hour for 200 miles. So just simplify your equation, make it a lot easier. And then I think I've also helped you right here with explaining your reasoning. The next question here, graph represents an object that is shot upwards from a tower and then falls to the ground. The independent variable is time in seconds, and the dependent variable is the object's height above the ground in meters. How tall is the tower from which the object was shot? I would suggest taking a look at it and saying, you know what, where did that line begin? And that's usually a really good place to figure out where your tower is at. Do not include meters in your answer. I know this is contrary to a lot of the other things that I put, but consider those pieces. Part B, it says, when did the object hit the ground? Take a look at the graph again, follow the line, figure out your time in seconds for when that object came all the way across and hit the ground. Part C, what's the greatest height the object reached? Again, read the graph, interpret the graph. Where do you believe that highest point is? And what is the time it took to reach maximum height? Again, go back to where you found that height right here. And what is the time at that point right up here? And then finally, for letter E, it says indicate these situations on the graph from part A. When we're talking about indicate this on the graph from part A, you have a couple of options. You can either go and make a screenshot of that part A of the graph and graph the points of the highest or the greatest height of the object and the time it took to reach that height. It says draw your graph and indications on paper. Take a picture and upload it using your image upload. Since we have the Chromebook, since this is something we can do, take a screen capture and go ahead and mark those points on it and then put that picture in there. You do not have this option right here where it says graph and indications are on paper. You don't have that option because this is an online course and I have to have a picture of that information. So if the picture's not uploaded, you won't get any points for it. That's it. There's your homework. Hope you had a great day. Happy weekend.